All right, so I am recording this screen, and I will try to post the video of my screen onto the course website. Give me a day or two to get it up there, and that means if you need to review something, you can review it. Okay, it's not a license to skip class and say, oh, I can just watch the video. It's here so because I understand 3 hours is a long time to sit through, a subject, and so if you miss something in the second half of class or something's a little hard to understand the first time around, it's there for you to review at your own pace. Okay. So when you registered, you should be able to access the course website, which you can get at my.ucla.extension.edu. You should have all received some login instructions when you registered for the course, and we'll take a look at that. So you log in, and it should look something like this, I believe. Intro, maybe you have to pick your class first, but you go to Intro to Statistical Reasoning, and you'll click Modules, and it will have this stuff. And so for week 1, here's the things that we have, okay? And so the Welcome and README is kind of like an abridged version of our syllabus. It just kind of goes over some class policies, so I'll just review a few things here. Please mark these dates on your calendar and make sure you will not miss class, okay? The midterm and final exam. Again, this is on the course webpage, so you don't necessarily have to write it in your notebooks right now, but just make sure you don't plan any vacations or anything like this, okay, on these days. Try not to get sick. I know that's out of your control, because the UCLA extension policy is no makeups except in unforeseen emergency type situations. So and it has to be documented, and I'm not the one to approve. You have to submit your request to the administrator. Her name is Sue Kwan. I'll make sure her information's up here. So she doesn't have any kind of personal attachment to you guys, so she just goes right by the policy and says yes or no, okay? So if you have car trouble and you get a receipt to say I had car trouble on this day and that's why I couldn't come to class, you'll be approved. But if you don't have anything documenting that and you just say I had car trouble, they're not going to approve it, okay? And if you're just saying like I had to work this day, they're not going to approve that, okay? It's got to be like you got sick and the doctor said you got sick or something like that, okay? So that's especially important on these, okay? We're going to have a quiz pretty much every single week, with the exception of the week right after the midterm. There's no quiz, but so there's going to be 8 quizzes, and the weeks of the exams there's no quizzes there, but there's pretty much a quiz every week. Because I understand life can happen, I will drop the 2 lowest quizzes. So if you miss class for whatever reason, you'll get a 0 for the quiz, but your 2 lowest quizzes will be dropped, okay? So whatever those might be. If you haven't noticed, only one of those doors open, so it's just the one that's closer to the board. That one opens. The other one, I don't know, the handle's like, just pretend. You can exit through it, but you can't get into the classroom through it. So I'll just open the one that's closer to the door. That's the one that opens. Okay, you need the textbook. The first or second edition is fine, okay? This is what the second edition looks like. The first edition, I'm sure someone else has. Either one is fine. You don't have to... textbooks are crazy expensive. The first editions are a lot cheaper. But you need the textbook, okay? So make sure you get one. Either edition is fine. Just know that if you buy the first edition and you try to resell it or sell it back, you're going to get like $2 for it, okay? That's just But you can probably get the first edition for maybe 30 bucks or something, you know. Whereas the second edition costs like 200 or something very, I don't want to say unreasonable, but a little unreasonable. You don't need any of the fancy add-ons. You don't need the CD or the web codes or anything like that, okay? Just the text, and work through that, okay? It's a good text, okay? But at the same time, I know not everybody learns best from a textbook. So if you're able to learn from the textbook, that's great. I do think the text is a quality text, but I also know not everybody's learning style is from reading. If you're going to read the text, what I strongly encourage you, if you're going to study from the text, is to read one section and then do the corresponding problems to that section. It's usually some students just try to like sit down and read through the entire chapter and then go through the problems. It's like too much, and then the words lose their meaning and the concepts lose their meaning as you're going through. So I would just say, read through like one section or one, they have worked out examples in the textbook. Read through that, follow along with a pen and paper, do the corresponding problems in the problem section. Your learning will be much better that way than, it's not like a English class where you read the entire thing and then talk about it at the end. It's do section by section. It's much better that way, okay? So anyway, here's some links. If you haven't gotten the textbook already, you can also sign up for, if you don't have Amazon Prime, you can sign up for Amazon Prime as a student for 50 bucks a year. Because they won an Emmy Award for their TV show Transparent, they're also going to sell a full-blown version for 67 bucks a year. It's a great thing. I don't work for Amazon, but I think Amazon Prime is super awesome. So sign up for that if you don't have it. But well, anyway, your money's your money. You also need a calculator. Here's a few links to some calculators that I recommend. Again, if you have a this calculator is 13 bucks. It's an excellent calculator. You can get I used something very similar on the screen. So if you have a calculator like this, you can follow along with the buttons I push on the screen. I've made some videos and I used this calculator, which is an older version, also an excellent calculator. If you have a graphing calculator already, you don't need to spend more money. But if you don't have at least a scientific calculator where you can use parentheses and things like that, spend 13 bucks and get a scientific calculator, okay? Yes, technically you could get through the class without such a calculator, but that's like trying to run a marathon barefoot, okay? Technically it's possible, but ill-advised, okay? So put shoes on, get a calculator. You will not hate your life as much, okay? You paid, I don't know, 800 bucks for this class. $13. It's a well worth investment, okay? Again, links on Amazon, but you can get those calculators anywhere else. 13 bucks is a great price rate. It's normally around 15. Okay, we'll talk about all of this stuff. So we have a quiz every week, and the total grade of your quizzes, after I drop the two lowest, will make up 30% of your grade. We'll have a midterm exam and a final exam. Those make up 30%, okay, of your grades each also. So that makes up 90. So 30, 30, 30 make up 90. The last 10% will come from homework and attendance, okay? I take attendance on just arbitrary selected days. So it is possible that you come here every single week, and the one week you miss, I take attendance and you don't get your point, and you'll be a little sad about that, but that's just how it works, okay? If you're not here, you don't get the attendance point. Even if you have a good excuse for not being here, the way the attendance works is you have to be here, okay? So even if you have a good reason for not being here, you're not going to get the point, okay? But worth a total of 5% of your grade. Not a huge deal. The homework, okay? Let me say this about homework. I assign homework to help you guys learn, as an exercise for you to learn. I will actually never actually collect the homework, and I'll never actually look at your homework. And at the end of the course, I'm just going to give everybody their full 5% for the homework. I'm going to just assume you guys are doing it. Okay, you guys are grown-ups. There's some trust here. I'm going to assume that you're doing the homework because it's for you. Okay. If I did not care about your learning, I would not assign homework. I would just say, okay, well, here's the lectures. Obviously, you learned everything, and here's the test, and let's see how it goes. But I know the homework, I truly believe, is helpful in helping you learn. Okay, and so it's a way to practice, right? It would, if you're playing a sport, it's nothing to. You're not going to have a winning team if all it is the coach telling you, formations and strategies, and then you don't actually practice, right? You get better at the sport by practicing. In the same way with statistics or many other things you learn, you get better or you learn it by doing it, not from reading in a textbook or watching me do statistics in class. So anyway, when you look at the homework, you're gonna go to the module and you click homework, and it just lists off problems to work through, and so these are problems in your textbook, depending on your first or second edition, which version you have. These are ones you can work through. Okay, so work through those, and then after you're done working through them, you can come down to here where it says solution videos for homework 1, and not every single problem, but for a lot of them I've recorded videos of myself working through the homework exercise. Okay, and so that's for you to check to make sure you've done it correctly. Okay, and the answers are available to you right now. Okay, as you're doing the homework, you might get stuck. If you get stuck, I encourage you to go back in the textbook or go back through your notes to see if you can figure out how to do it. Try that before jumping to the videos. Okay, if you get stuck and you go straight to the videos, you're not going to learn as much. Okay, your brain learns through the struggle. So I encourage you to do that, but I also encourage you to just check your answers and make sure you're doing things correctly. Okay, and again, so the homework is for you. If you choose not to do the homework, you're just cheating yourself out of a learning opportunity. Okay, so we will have a quiz next week, pretty much every single week, and so I provide some info about the quiz also in the module. It says these are the topics you need to know. I have a practice quiz for you to work through. Okay, and you can work through this just to make sure whatever you can do whatever you're trying to do, and the answers to the practice quiz are also posted there as well. Okay, so I try to provide you with everything you need to do well in the class. It's up to you to make use of them and do your share of studying and preparing. Okay. Are there any questions? Yes.
I don't know if you already mentioned. Are the quizzes? Is it just multiple choice, or how do you?
Yeah. So the quizzes are multiple choice. Okay, and that's because there's a lot of you, and it's just faster for me to grade that way. Okay. So the quizzes are multiple choice. And that's that. So if you get it wrong, there's no partial credit on the quiz or anything like that. Okay. Yes?
How many questions are there usually?
There are about 10 questions, about half an hour. Okay. Some quizzes shorter than others, some quizzes longer. Yeah. 20 to 40 minutes, I would say, is the length of the quiz. Yes?
Can I see the link again?
For
For the website?
the website, yes.
I think it's the first page. Oh, right.
Okay, so yeah, you should have received an email, like when you registered for the class, you should have received some information about logging into the course website, okay? Yes?
When do you usually post that practice quiz?
They're usually available the week, I don't know. Like next week's quiz is available right now, okay? So at least a week in advance, yeah. Okay. Okay, so yes.
Do we need to bring like a Scantron or something? Or
No, there will be a Scantron form on the quiz itself, or kind of the section to bubble in, and you're gonna bubble in your answers. Okay. Is that okay? Okay, so now I have to give the spiel about, I don't know, my warning against those who are don't have the adequate math background for this class. Okay, so I know some of you are taking this class because you're at a junior college and you need to fulfill your math requirement to transfer to a four-year university. But in order to fulfill your math requirement, it requires you to take like 4 math classes, and this is kind of a shortcut to that. Okay. You guys are grown-ups and you can do what you want to do, but it is a gamble, and it depends on who you are. I've had students who have tried to do that and failed, okay, because they did not have the appropriate math background. I've had other students who did it, okay, and succeeded. And I don't have a magical rule. Sometimes I give a kind of a preliminary test to make sure you guys are able to do some math, but really it comes down to how much, I think for a lot of them, how much work they're willing to put in, how much time they can dedicate to the class. And it's also different. Some people have more, I don't know what the word is, inherent ability than others, when it comes to thinking about math and numbers and the like. And so, if you've struggled with math your entire life and you're trying to skip a whole bunch of classes, you might not succeed. And I might encourage you strongly to take a couple more math classes before enrolling in this one. So, if you need to have a strong command of algebra. I am not going to cover algebra because it's assumed that you guys all know it. And so if you're, the first lecture is going to be easy, but you might find next week that you're struggling to keep up with the math that I'm doing on the board. And that I would say that's a strong indicator that you should not take the class. I do have some links here to Khan Academy, which is an excellent resource on covering some algebra topics. And this also seems silly, but you got to be comfortable with decimals and percentages and things like that. Okay, so if I say 0.053, okay, so listen up and just make sure we can all get to the same thing. If I say 0.053 is equal to what percentage, you guys should all say in your head right now that it's 5.3%, okay? And if that didn't come to you almost instantaneously in that time I said it, maybe you don't have the proper foundation with percentages and decimals, okay? Because if you can't do that, you're in trouble. So, and it's an expensive class. After the third week, you decide to withdraw, you're going to get $0 back, okay? And I don't want you to have a negative experience from that. So, I take pride in being I think I'm a good teacher, and I do my part in instruction, but I also can't. I'm not a magician, and I can't take someone with no math background or just a very poor math background and make them suddenly learn all this stuff that they were supposed to learn. So it's a statistics class, and we're going to spend 12 weeks on statistics and not any of the background stuff. Okay, so if you have some hesitations, you can talk to me. I can kind of give you a better advice on whether you should drop or not, but of course I can't guarantee it, because I've had some students who came in struggling but worked their butts off, passed. Okay, I've had other students worked hard, didn't pass though. Okay, because just didn't have it. So anyway, okay, is that okay? We good? We ready to start statistics learning? Okay, that's great. Let me put a break in our video, and then we'll start the actual content.